Sleeping upon stone beds is not healthy, comfortable, or civilized. Fortunately, the furnishings of the structure were not permanent, as the tesseract, as I have come to call it, itself. The stone is built of either material or enchantment seems utterly impenetrable. I don't doubt I could blast it, or I don't doubt I could blast it with a cannon and not even chip the surface. Wow, so they did break lore a little bit because they're talking about a cannon and there are no, there's not even gunpowder in Skyrim. Second of sun's height. Finally, more clues have been found, and I have actually managed to use the ring to gain access to... I'm not going to try to say that again. It seems as deadly a place as the Tesseract is life-sustaining. In fact, it's rather like an obstacle course, the very purpose of which is to kill the unwary adventurer. It also seems completely operational, which I narrowly escaped. The first, I suppose one would call it a room, is filled with poisonous gas, as is a maze which seems to appear and disappear as you walk. Whether or not it changes as it disappears, I do not know. Thank the divines, I know healing spells. The second room was even more hinderous, I think that's what it says, though, and was littered with the less fortunate, scarred into the stone by some kind of spell, was a strange word, run. I took it as it was a single word, run. I took it as advice, and so glad I am that I did. I glanced down in my ascent and found a boiling green acid chasing up after me. I thank whatever adventurer before me who carved the word. Thankfully, by sprinting wherever I could, I was able to outpace the tide. The third room seemed benign at first, save for a telltale skeleton. Then I noticed the pressure plates, very deadly pressure plates, and beyond them a set of flame towers, inactive, but I have no doubt that given the opportunity of the rest, they would become active if a wrong move was made. Fortunately, the skeleton was formerly a scholar of the Dwemer and had left his notes. Rather blood-tained, I think that's supposed to say blood-stained. I was tempted to keep it, but bloodstains aren't quite my thing. I decided to take a note off his sources to find myself later. Still, it provided me enough information to make it pass. The fourth room was terrible. Immediately upon entry, I felt a draining force upon my person, and all the energy was sapped from me like water squeezed from a sponge. I couldn't even cast the smallest spells. The crystals and buttons caused a central pillar to rise out of a pool of acid. The pillars about the room shot fireballs far too close for my comfort. Dodging them was the chore, but aside from burning off various sections of my robe, I survived. When I managed to hit all of the buttons, a central core appeared with a shield around it. It was also then, though, that somehow the magical polarity of the field sapping away my energy was reversed, and suddenly I found at my disposal what seemed like never-ending supply. The core sent out periodic pulses of energy, and unless I was within the shield of it, my attacks were useless. After several pulses, the object exploded in my face and threw me against a metal gate. That was when I had the serendipity to discover that the ring could carry me out of the dungeon and not just in. I almost lost the ring and grabbed for it and accidentally slipped it on in the process. It would have been nice to know earlier. I can only imagine the fourth challenge was to destroy that thing. I think I shall forego that challenge. The entire structure seemed older. Perhaps it was a preliminary model for the technology used in the Tesseract, or possibly just not as well made. It makes me wonder if places such as these are the reason Dwemer disappeared. Certainly a race capable of such feats as traveling the plains who suddenly vanished would not have suffered so insulting a fate as an accidental mass suicide with no traces left. I've been writing for far too long and I'm exhausted. I'm going to sleep. I am now almost certain that the strange and deadly construct I found was a game or testing grounds for some kind to the Dwemer. I had the time to translate a single line of I discovered in the fourth room while catching my breath. It reads, "Please note that we have added a consequence for failure. Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death." Okay. And now we can put the ring on. You may skip the dungeon and go straight to the calming house or enter it on normal or hard difficulties. If you choose to enter the dungeon, you can leave at any time with this ring, though you will have to begin again if you decide to go back. Each time you wear this ring outside the dungeon, you will be given the choice of what you want to do. We're gonna skip the dungeon because there's no enemies. Now, I do have a mod on that allows me to wear multiple rings, but um, putting on the ring does not have any effect on the rings that you are wearing. Now we've got a ton of potion ingredients and a ton of different potions. And oh, look at those soul gems. There aren't actually any there. Fortifying stat potions, miscellaneous potions, resistance potions, restoration potions, fortify skill and stat, and poisons. So I am going to collect some stuff from around here, because since those are basically unique chests, my guess is that started a quest for your roots. Oops. I shouldn't have picked that up. I'm so far from that point. My frames are like dying because there's so much stuff in here. Okay, so apparently I got all of the Nern roots out of here. That's good, because there was not going to be any talking over that. This is very pretty how they added all of these potion ingredients, but they also added a lot of decorative stuff just to make it look better. Like this special looking grass stuff. And then on top of that, I heard the door shut while I was harvesting stuff. So that tells me that the door will shut behind me, preventing any of the bugs from escaping. Because as you probably know, they are a serious pain to try to catch.